The election of Abraham Lincoln was the last straw, the final insult, too much for the South to take. Following Lincoln's election, 11 Southern states had seceded or broke away from the Union, and they now called themselves the Confederate States of America, the CSA. The Confederate States would create their own flag, print their own money, elect their own president, Jefferson Davis, and draft their own Constitution, which, by the way, was similar to that old Articles of Confederation in which states had the right to rule themselves as they saw fit. Why had they done this? Why create their own country? Tariffs? Somewhat. States' rights? Well, sort of. The issue greater than any other was that of slavery. There was a growing abolitionist movement in Europe and in the northern United States. Many people in the United States began to imagine a nation without slavery. After all, the United States was one of the few remaining nations using this barbaric system of forced labor. Many Southerners feared a life without enslaved African Americans would bring an end to the Southern life as they knew it. That's what secession was all about. Let's break away so the U.S. can't take our slaves away. So beginning with South Carolina, 11 states did just that. Before any of this secession stuff, the United States placed forts along the Atlantic coast just to protect the nation from any foreign attacks. Forts dotted the United States Atlantic coast from north to south. Now that the South had broken away and seceded, they saw those U.S. forts located in the South and said, "You're not welcome anymore." South Carolina issued an ultimatum, a demand that the United States was to leave a fort located off the coast of South Carolina. That fort was called Fort Sumter. South Carolina gave the United States until 4:00 a.m. on April 12th to evacuate. The United States scoffed at this demand. The U.S. felt that South Carolina, nor any other southern state, had the right to leave the United States. U.S. soldiers will continue to hold and occupy Fort Sumter. South Carolina was serious. They felt they had freely joined the United States in 1776, and they could freely leave the United States in 1861. On the morning of April 12, 1861, Fort Sumter was just a dark shape in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina. The United States flag flapped in the morning southern breeze. General Pierre G.T. Beauregard, yes, Beauregard Street in Alexandria is named for him. Confederate Commander Beauregard was getting ready to give his Confederate gunners the order to fire on Fort Sumter. The United States soldiers waited nervously inside the walls of Fort Sumter. Their commander, Major Robert Anderson, knew Beauregard well. He was his teacher at West Point College. And now, student was about to attack teacher. Don't get any ideas, kids. Virginia planter and slave owner Edmund Ruffin was given the honor to fire the first cannon into Fort Sumter. He had preached secession for the last 20 years. At 4:30 a.m., Confederate gunners opened fire. All of that pent-up anger, frustration, and tension released in the form of cannon fire. Confederate gun batteries were positioned all around Fort Sumter. The United States fort was a sitting duck. The pounding lasted 34 hours. Finally, United States Major Anderson surrendered the fort. The only casualty was a Confederate horse. They call it a bloodless opening to the bloodiest war in American history. I say, poor horse. It has been said that the Confederates who fired on Fort Sumter were perhaps the greatest abolitionists this nation ever produced. The attack on Fort Sumter marked the beginning of the war between states, the Civil War. News echoed throughout the North and South as calls went out for volunteers. Lincoln would have to fight a war in order to keep this Union together. Although the United States was forced to surrender Fort Sumter, the United States North still brimmed with confidence. They had the much larger population. They possessed more money and more factories that could be used to produce ammunition and other war supplies. They had naval power and controlled most of the nation's railroads. They were betting and banking on bringing the Southern Rebellion to a quick end. Many Northerners predicted it would take 90 days. We shall see about that.